Hey guys, me again. On the first video of this little short series, we went through the first step in a practical sense of what we need to do once we've figured out our goal. Okay, so we went through body scans and MyFitnessPal tracking and using the information and then comparing the two together, and then being able to come up with the next steps from there. So if you haven't watched that one, go back and watch it and then come watch this one. Okay, so this next thing, once we have those two pieces of information and we know what we need to change, now it's like, okay, how can we do that in the easiest way possible? Because let's be real, like everyone is so busy nowadays that personally, I believe that one of the big reasons that we fall off the bandwagon is that life just gets in the way, and we tend to drop the things that are like it's easiest to drop. So, you know, the first thing that pops up that gets in the way, I think it's natural that everyone just puts themselves second. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that no matter how hectic life gets, we can still maintain a happy, healthy lifestyle and be on track to achieving our goals. Because I don't want the first hurdle to pop up and then we're just like, well, it's not my time. And then I try again in 6 months and then you just repeat the cycle. We don't want that. We want to make sure it's as easy as possible for us to stay on track. And that is what I want to touch on today. So this is all about habits, okay? Because the way that I think about it is we can break everything down into the easiest way possible. And when we do that, if it can be super easy, we don't really have to think about it, then over time, we just start doing these things without really thinking about them. And then they just become natural, okay? So once we have our body scan and our calorie tracking data, and we're like, okay, cool, sweet. So it turns out I'm just eating too much, and for me to lose weight, I just want to drop back on my calories and make sure that I can maintain this, and that, okay? So look, let's say, because a lot of these is going to be different, so we're going to choose a couple of the main habits that I like to implement early, and then you can mold them to where you're at the moment, because I think this will be super valuable for you to be able to do. Okay, so look, the first thing is eating too many calories, okay? And then let's say the second thing is that we're not recovering well enough. And then the next thing after that is, let's say, we're not being consistent enough with our training and our sessions, okay? So those three there is what we'll touch on first, okay? So first thing, right, we want to break down pretty much the barriers that are going to get in our way for eating less, okay? And the way I do this is pretty much make it as easy as possible for me to do, all right? So you pretty much just get a bit of paper and list as many things that you feel like you can do that's going to make it more likely for you to stick to this new habit that we're trying to build, okay? So let's say it's eating less foods, all right? So you've got, okay, let's say I'm pretty much going to make my usual plate and then I'm just going to halve it, all right? We're looking at super easy options just to start building on these good habits, because I find that if we implement everything at once, we tend to stick to nothing, or it lasts for about a week and then we lose motivation and then it's so hard to find that again. So we want to do it incrementally, so it's small, and then we can build up, and then before we know it, we're doing it without even thinking about it, okay? So let's say, all right, the plates that I have at home are massive and I just load them all up. I don't really think about it. As long as my plate's full, that's what I do. Okay, let's use a smaller plate. All right, there you go. The next thing is like, all right, cool, sweet. Maybe I drink a big glass of water when I'm eating dinner. Okay, so that way I fill myself up quicker and I don't tend to eat extra food. All right, so listing out a bunch of things that we know are going to help, and then from there it's like, okay, now we literally just do one of those things every single day for the first week, and then we add on the next thing. Okay, so let's say for us to eat a little bit less, because our thing now is calories and portion control, right? So the first thing we're doing is using a smaller plate, and that's what we're doing for week 1. Okay, so we're just using smaller plates and not eating as much food. So we're not really diving into too much of the calorie stuff just yet. We're just thinking, okay, cool, then maybe I can just eat a little bit smaller, right? And then week 2, all right, now I'm going for the water thing, so I can add more water to it. And then as we go, we add one little thing extra. And then before we know it, we tend to not really think about it, because we're just like, oh, okay, cool, sweet. So I would list out every little thing that you can think of that's going to make it as easy as possible for you to either eat less, or even if it's like a healthier thing, and you're like, okay, sweet, so I finish work late on this day, and that's usually when I get my takeaway. and I want to cut back my takeaway because I'm eating out, say, 4 nights a week at the moment, and the easiest thing for me to do, or I can't really cut out every single night, so I'm just going to cut out 2 nights. I'm going to halve it, okay? What can I do on those extra 2 days instead of eating out? What can I do? How can I prepare myself better? So then it's like, all right, sweet. On a Sunday night, I'm making up these extra meals and I'll just freeze them, and then on those days, that's what I'll do, okay? That's easy for me to do. I'm going to do that for the first week, see how that goes, see if it's easily manageable, and then I'll do it again next week, but then instead of only doing 2, I'll do 3, and then I'll do 4. And then if that's easy, I can just keep doing that, okay? So that's a little trick on building habits. I like to break it down and make it the easiest way possible. So that's a couple little gems around the nutrition side. Okay, next one, recovery wise. I feel like this one for me is more of a, it's like I just have to be more realistic with myself and say, okay, cool, Callum, if you're staying up until 10 o'clock and then you're getting up at 5, or say you're staying up till 12 o'clock and then you're getting up at 5 and you're only giving yourself 5 hours sleep, you know, come Thursday, you're just going to be wrecked. So it's like, all right, sweet. What's the easiest thing I can do now? All right. Let's say, all right, I want to have my chill time. I want to sit down and watch TV. Okay. What's the simplest thing I can do? Let's say, all right, instead of going to bed at 12, I'm going to go try to go to bed at 11. Okay. Cool. Bang. So that's the first thing I do this week. I just try to get an extra hour of sleep a night. Okay, and that's going to give me 7 extra hours in a whole week of extra sleep, which is huge, especially if you don't really sleep enough now. That's going to be massive at the start, okay? And then from there, it's like, hey, that actually felt really good. Maybe I'll try 2 hours. And then boom, an extra 2 hours of sleep a night, bang. You've got an extra 14 hours a week of rest and recovery, which is huge, especially for a lot of people that don't sleep enough, because that's one of the big things that I hear all the time. So I don't sleep. It's like, okay, cool, sweet. Now that may be easier said than done. And if you find that sleeping is tricky, this stuff here, I'm telling you right now, game changer. I have it every night before I go to bed and boom, I'm out like a light. So finding little things that are going to help you get to sleep. Okay, maybe white noise helps you sleep better. Maybe that's like now finding little things that you can do to work on your sleep. Like if it's that important to you, you'll try little things that are going to help with that. So there are little things that you can implement there. So maybe spend a couple of days or a night. Did the white noise machine help? Okay. Did like going to bed and leaving all the lights off, like did that help? Or actually going to bed, not scrolling on my phone for an extra 5 hours and actually just going straight to bed. Like what was it that helped? Was winding down half an hour before actually going to bed more beneficial as well? Like looking at those little things and then saying, okay, sweet, easiest thing I can do, I'm going to bed an hour early, I'm doing that for this week, I'm going to see how that goes, and I'm going to add to that. So same thing before. Make a list of everything that you feel like you can do to get a bit of extra recovery in, whether that's scheduling your after work like routine. Say you come home, you get the kids ready, do dinner, and then you chill out, sit on the couch. But then once you sit on the couch, it's like you have 3 hours of just veg time where you kind of zone down. That's cool. I feel like everyone needs to have that zone down time. I'm not saying cut that out. I'm saying, okay, cool. Can we maybe do, say, an hour and a half zone down time, and then maybe half an hour of like either just chilling out or stretching or rolling out or like doing something that's going to help that, and then boom, bed an hour earlier. Like, can we do that? Can we try that for a week, see if that sits in a routine and actually works well? Like, let's try that for a week and then building on that. But like I said before, listing everything out that you can do and then breaking it down so it's in pretty much the simplest form that you can implement, and then doing that, okay? Now, the third one, and that's the consistency around sessions and actually making sure that you can come to your sessions and actually do the stuff that you know you need to do. Again, we're breaking it down and we're making it as easy as possible. So this pretty much is going to guarantee that you get to your sessions. Now, when I do this, and I have another full video on this, but I like to list out where all my priorities are in a time aspect, all right? So let's say, for example, you always book your session on a Thursday night, but a Thursday night is when you're more likely to get stuck staying back at work. Like, would it be, like, is it now a good idea for you to book a session on a Thursday afternoon when you know there's a high chance that you're going to get stuck back at work? Or is it better to say, okay, maybe I'm going to change something up there? Like, looking at your week and thinking, okay, where can I book this session where time isn't going to get in the way, all right? Is it before work, all right? Is it maybe going to bed 2 hours earlier so you can still get that extra hour, like when you go to bed, but you can wake up an extra hour early and then come in for your session when there's nothing on and you can actually come and do it? Or if your week is that hectic and you know, okay, cool, sweet, I can't make it here, I can't make it there, I can't make it here, a Saturday morning, all right, or a Saturday, like it's 20 minutes. You're in and out in half an hour. Like everyone has time to prioritize that in their week. Like whether it's 1, whether it's 2, like there's the times. But the aim of the game here is to choose those times that nothing else gets in the way. You've prioritized that time for you time, so that if something pops up, you're like, yep, I'll get to it after my session, because this is me time. Like we want to make sure that we're prioritizing ourselves, because that's how this all works. All right, we could do all this stuff, but then if we're not doing that and we're not prioritizing ourselves, then it's usually when the snowball starts, right? And we start missing sessions. And then because we get too hectic and we start giving up on the nutrition side of things. And then we're like, oh my God, I'm just so hectic, I just want to chill out. And then you chill out, and then we start chilling out for too long. And then that's when it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So we want to try and make sure everything is as easy as possible to maintain. And I feel like booking sessions, like that's a massive one. All right, so look at your week, really work out, hey, do I have a full block where I can block out this amount of time where nothing is going to get in the way no matter what happens, okay? Even if you're bringing the kids to the studio when you come in for your session, it's like, yep, cool, I can maintain that, kids can chill out, I can do my session, then after that we can go and do the shop, or we can do whatever we have to do. But you don't want to risk having to cancel based on work or getting held up or like whatever it is. You want to make sure it's pretty much guaranteed that you have that time to block out. So for sessions and consistency, that's what I'll be doing. Looking at my schedule, thinking, okay, cool, I want to make sure that I've got this time allocated for this and nothing else. And that's pretty much how I'm going to guarantee that I'm always going to make my sessions. Nothing's going to fall off, and I'm always just going to be able to stick to it and then go for it. Right? And if you can always do the same time, same day, and you can build that into your week, that's another good thing with habits, is that always doing it over and over and over at the same time, same thing, that you don't have to think about it. You just automatically know at 4 p.m. on Thursday you're doing your session. And you don't have to think. You don't have to be like, oh, did I book in this week? It's like, no, 4 p.m. speed fit time, I'm always going to be there. Okay, so look, there are a couple little tips on the habit side of things. But like I said before, once you have those two massive pieces of information of where you're currently at, what you need to be doing, and merging them together, it's about figuring out the action steps that we need to take and then simplifying that down into the easiest way possible, so then we can work on that and we can just do those little things bit by bit by bit by bit, so that their habits then get formed, and then we're not thinking about it actively, and we just start doing things. All right, we just automatically know, okay, cool, this is my time to have a protein shake. I'm having my protein shake. I haven't missed my protein today. Or, okay, cool, it's 9 p.m. now, I'm going to wind down and go to bed a little bit earlier because I want to get in my recovery time. It's like, oh, cool, 4 p.m. Thursday, don't call me, phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm going to Speed Fit and get my session in. Nobody talk to me. This is what I'm doing. Okay, so simplify it, break it all down. And if you want more assistance on this, let us know. Like if that's one thing that you're struggling with and it's the habits and it's the actual doing of the stuff that you know you need to do, we can work all that out. So send us a message, send us an email, we can sit down, we can have a bit of a one-on-one and break this stuff down. But this stuff is massive. If we can remain consistent with this and make it as easy as possible for us to do, then it's easier for us to stick to. But if we overcomplicate it and we make it super difficult, that's when it gets hard to stick to. And usually when the first barrier pops up, it's the first thing we push aside, and it's a downhill slope from there. Okay, so that's habits. Stay tuned for the next one.